Hi, this is Sir Jason Alviar and welcome back sa Mathusay General Math Tutorial. Sa lesson na ito, pag-aaralan natin kung ano ang exponential function. Let's begin by recalling some basic concepts of exponent by evaluating the expression 2 raised to 3. Sa expression na ito, ang 2 ay tinatawag nating base. Samantalang, ang 3 ay tinatawag nating exponent. Isa sa mga karaniwang mistake ng students when they simplify expression like this ay minumultiply nila yung base sa exponent. So which is wrong. What does the exponent tells us? It simply means that you have to multiply the base to itself and times. So in this case, since yung base natin ay 2, so at ang exponent natin ay 3, so kailangan nating i-multiply yung 2 to itself 3 times. So 2 times 2 times 2, that will be 8. So ang 2 raised to 3 is equal to 8. In general, if n is a positive integer, then b raised to n is equal to b times b times b times b and so on n times, where b is the base and n is an integer. This time, we will recall the rules of zero and negative exponent. Now, kapag meron tayong zero exponent, if a is not equal to 0, then a raised to 0 is automatically equal to 1. So, for example, we have 4 raised to 0, automatic yan, equal to 1 yan. 100 raised to 0, equal to 1 yan. So, no matter how large your a is or yung base natin, as long as yung exponent ay 0, that will always be equal to 1. Now, how about if we have negative exponent? So, this is just a recall of your grade 9 lesson. So, if n is any integer and a and b are not equal to 0, then a raised to negative n, so ibig sabihin yung base natin ay may negative na exponent, this is just equal to the reciprocal of that given expression. Pero yung ating exponent ay magiging positive. Or in this case, kung halimbawa ang base natin ay fraction with the negative exponent, so ang mangyayari, kukunin natin yung reciprocal ng fraction, tapos yung exponent ay magiging positive. So, for our example, 3 raised to negative 3, that's equivalent to 1 over 3 raised to 3. So, 3 cubed is equal to 27. Kasi 3 times 3 times 3, that's 27. So, 3 raised to negative 3 is equivalent to 1 over 27. Now, how about kung ang base natin ay fraction? So, let's take 4 third raised to negative 4. Ang equivalent nito ay 81 over 256. Kasi ang ginawa natin, we get the reciprocal of 4 third, that is 3 fourth raised to 4. So, kaya naging 81 over 256. Now that we have recalled some basic concepts of exponent na kailangan natin sa pag-intindi ng konsepto ng exponential function, let's take this example. Laboratory findings show that the SARS-causing coronavirus, upon reaching maturity, divides itself into 2 after every hour. The table below shows the number of coronavirus present after 3 hours elapse. So from our table, at t equals 0, yung number of coronavirus is 1. Siyempre, at the beginning, yun yung initial number of virus. At t equals 1, naging 2 na yung virus. Kasi after every hour, it divides itself into 2, di ba? So, at the end of 2 hours, it becomes 4. So, 4 na. Kasi dumoble na yung bilang. When t is 3, so 8 na yung number of virus. When t is 4, yung number of coronavirus is 16. After 5 hours naman, naging 32 na yung coronavirus present. And lastly, at 6 hours, yung number of coronavirus present will be 64. If you notice, the number of coronavirus can be expressed in exponential form as follows. Yung 1, pwedeng 2 raised to 0. Diba? Gaya ng sinabi ko, any number raised to 0 is 1. Now, we have 2 raised to 1, 2 raised to 2, that's equal to 4, 2 raised to 3 equals siya sa 8, 2 raised to 4 is just the same with 16, 2 raised to 5, and lastly, 2 raised to 6. Yung number of coronavirus that is being described in this table can be described using the function f of t equals 2 raised to t. Diba? So, gamit ang function na ito, we can calculate the number of coronavirus after 1 day. So, if we have t as 24, so f of 24 equals 2 raised to 24. So, it means to say, after 24 hours, meron ng 16,777,216 coronavirus present. Ang function na ito ay isang halimbawa ng exponential function. Ano ba ang exponential function? Ang exponential function is a function defined by f of x equals b raised to x, where b must be greater than 0 and b must not be equal to 1. So later on, pag-uusapan natin itong dalawang restriction ng ating base. Here are some examples of exponential function. F of x is equal to 3x kasi, take note, yung base niya is 3 and that is greater than 0. Right? Next is g of x equals 10 raised to x. So, yung ating base is 10 and that's greater than 0. And yung ating exponent ay yung x. Another example, we have h of x equals 2 raised to x plus 1. So, in this case, yung ating base ay 2 at yung ating exponent ay x plus 1. The following are not example of exponential functions. So, gaya ng f of x equals x squared. Hindi siya exponential function because the base is a variable. Claro? Next, we have g of x equals 1 raised to x. So, in this case, kung mapapansin nyo, yung base natin is 1. So, ang restriction kasi ng exponential function, dapat yung base must be greater than 0 and not equal to 1. So, in this case, if g of x is equal to 1 over x, kahit anong value pa ng x ang ating i-substitute dyan, that will always give you 1. So, ang tawag dito kasi ay constant function. So, kaya hindi siya exponential function. H of x equals x raised to x ay hindi naman, again, hindi siya exponential function dahil yung base ay variable. Now that it is clear to us kung ano ang exponential function, let's talk about the two restrictions ng ating exponential function. Take note, may dalawa tayong restriction. Una, the base must not be equal to 1. Bakit kaya it should not be equal to 1? If b is equal to 1 kasi, your function f of x equals b raised to x. Kung papalitan natin yung base ng 1, that will give you 1 raised to x. So kahit anong value pa ng x ang inyong i-plug in sa inyong function, that will always be equal to 1. So ang tawag sa function nito ay magiging constant function. So kaya hindi na siya exponential function That's why we have to restrict that b must not be equal to 1. The last condition is that b must be greater than 0. Bakit kaya? If b is equal to negative 9 and x is equal to 1/2, then yung function nating f of x equals b raised to x, kung papalitan natin yung base and yung exponent ng negative 9 and 1/2 respectively, so mangyayari negative 9 raised to 1/2. Take note, yung ating exponent ay rational. So, that will be equivalent to square root of a negative number. So, in this case, there's no real solution. Kaya, hindi pwede na yung b natin maging less than 0. So, dapat talaga greater than 0. Klaro? This time, let's evaluate some exponential function. Example number 1. Complete a table of values for x equals negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2 for the exponential function f of x equals 2 raised to x and g of x equals 1/3 raised to x. So, ang gagawin natin, bubuo tayo ng table of values. So, ang una nating isa-solve ay yung f of x. So, kung ang x natin ay negative 2, so, f of x, which is 2 raised to x, papalitan natin yung x ng negative 2. So, 2 raised to negative 2, that will be 1/4. Kasi take note, this is a negative exponent. So, kukunin natin yung reciprocal niyan and then magiging positive yung exponent. So, when x is negative 2, f of x will be 1/4. Now, if x is equal to negative 1, 2 raised to negative 1 is 1/2. Now, if x is equal to 0, 2 raised to 0 is 1. Now, if f of x is equal to 1, so palitan natin yung x ng 1, 2 raised to 1 is 2. Madali lang. And lastly, if x is equal to 2, so 2 raised to 2 is 4. This time, let's evaluate the function g of x equals 1/3 raised to x. Kapag ang x natin ay equal to negative 2, so we have 1/3 raised to negative 2. So, dahil yung ating base ay 1/3, so we get the reciprocal of that will be 3. So, magiging positive na yung exponent. So, 3 squared is 9. Now, if x is equal to negative 1, the g of negative 1 is positive 3. Ngayon, kung ang ating function ay evaluate at x equals 0, so yung function will always be equal to 1. Kasi yung exponent natin ay 0. Now, how about if x is equal to 1? So, 1/3 raised to 1 is still 1/3. And lastly, kapag ang x natin ay equal to 2, so 1/3 raised to 2, so that's equal to 1/9. So, ganun lang kadaling mag-evaluate at mag-construct ng table of values ng exponential function. Let's take the last example. Evaluate the following for the indicated value or values of x. So, f of x is equal to 3 raised to x. So, ang i-evaluate natin una is at x equals 4 at yung pangalawa at x equals 1/2. So, if our x is equal to 4, so yung ating function na f of x equals 3 raised to x, ipa-plug in natin si 4. So, f of 4 is equal to 3 raised to 4. So, 3 raised to 4 is equivalent to 81. So, ganun lang kadaling mag-evaluate ng exponential function. Now, how about if x is equal to 1/2? So, if we plug in 1/2 sa ating function, ang mangyayari, we have 3 raised to 1/2. In this case, yung ating exponent ay rational. So, this can be simplified as square root of 3. Claro. Please pause the video and try these exercises. Kapag tapos na kayo, you can share your answers on the comment section. Kung nakatulong ang Mathusay math tutorial na mas maintindihan ninyo ang konsepto ng exponential function, give this video a thumbs up, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Remember, ang sikreto para maging mathusay, matuto at mag-ensayo. Panoorin ang susunod na episode at matutong mag-represent ng real-life situations using exponential function. See ya! Bye!